Hello, hi everyone. Today we are going to see a concept of vendor account group. So we got a business requirement to change the vendor account group for a particular vendor. For example, your account grouping is SUPL and the vendor account group is also SUPL. Now they are asking you to change. This is a grouping, BP grouping. This is your vendor account group. So they're asking you to change the vendor account group to 0001. So you can change the vendor account group in the grouping by using the transaction BP. For the created vendors, for future vendors, you can go to the configuration and change that group mapping. So before changing, we need to remember a few things. You need to explain the business. If you change the vendor account group, there are some complication. You need to understand complication. If they agree to the complication which they are going to face, if they are ready, then you can go ahead and change the vendor account group. So what are those? The first thing, vendor account group are going to control the number ranges. So if you change the vendor account group, your complete number ranges is going to change. And the field selection, which is created for that vendor account group, will get completely changed. So what you want to do, both the account groups should have the same field selection to further process. If you don't have same field selection, then you will not be able to convert the vendor account group from SUPL to 0001. Because in SUPL, think that your reconciliation ID is not mandatory. But in 0001 vendor account group, reconciliation account is mandatory. In that situation, you cannot convert the vendor from this group to this group. This is the one complication. And the second complication is partner scheme. Partner scheme. But think that for SUPL, your partner schema is also SUPL. In that partner schema, you have OA, you have GS, you have PI, and you have VN. If these four are not configured in this vendor account group, then which all are created for that vendor cannot be used further. Okay, if not, both partner schema should contain the same values. If those are okay, then you can go ahead and change the vendor account group. This is the second complication. Okay. Normally, once we tell this to the business, they will ask you to change the complete information in the background. Or they will ask you to delete the old vendor and create the new vendor. For deleting the old vendor also, you have some complication to delete the vendor. To delete the vendor, you have some complication. What are the complications? You should not have any open POs or open PRs. Then you should not have any GR pending from that vendor or the invoice pending with that vendor. Then you should not have any pending payment. If these three are okay, then you can go and delete the vendor. In these three, if any one is existing, then you cannot delete the vendor. Okay, and if you're going to change the vendor account group, you need to see vendor is internal or external. This is the first point again to change the vendor account group. And the vendor which you're going to change is preferred vendor or not preferred vendor. Preferred vendor. And we're changing the account group from SUPL to 001. These are the steps which you need to follow. If all these are acceptable by the business, if you get an official sign off from the business, then you can go ahead and create or change the vendor account group. Unless and until that, we cannot change the vendor account group in the system. So let me show the field where you're going to change the vendor account group so that you will have some idea. So if you go to BP business partner, open some vendor. So this is my vendor. So I'll select the general data. I'll go to the supplier view and general data, and I go to the vendor general data. Here, if I click on edit, here you have the account group. You have two scenarios now. One scenario is the vendor account group will be editable. In some scenarios, this vendor account group will not be editable. Why you have editable and non-editable is, if you have maintained the vendor account group and VP grouping, if you have a connection between these both, then you will not be able to change it. If you have the connection between these both, and if you have the flexible selected in the configuration, let me show that also. I'll go to SPR, SC preference IMG, cross application component. Then I go to master data synchronization. Let me check where is master data synchronization. Here. Here, customer vendor integration, business partner setting, vendor integration, field assignment, assign keys, then direction BB to the vendor. Here you have the flexible group. For example, if you use 1402, you will have 1402, but you will be able to change the account group there. If you don't have this flexible workflow enabled, flexible grouping enabled, then you will not be able to change the vendor account group in the system. This is one of the points which you need to keep in your mind. Okay. So that's it for today. Thank you.